Have you been to the Delmar Loop lately? There is a brand new star on the Walk of Fame. We'll take you there.
And we'll be speaking with the inspiration behind an upcoming movie today. We have Marshall the Miracle Dog and his owner, Cindy Willenbrock, here today.
Great Rivers Greenway is here. They want you to get outside and explore and enjoy the St. Louis region.
All that and more coming up next on St. Louis Presents. Welcome to this edition of St. Louis Presents on STL TV. We are barreling through the dog days of summer, and speaking of dogs, we will actually have a dog here in studio just in a few moments.
That's a great story too, Marshall the Miracle Dog. I did a City Corner show on STL TV a couple of years ago when Cynthia was writing her book and just talking about it becoming a movie, and now it is. So.
He is adorable too, by the way.
Such a sweetheart.
And so well-mannered.
I think it's really interesting that Missouri is known as the puppy mill capital, and how, we have laws that are too lax to, deal with the puppy mills, and yet we have these two dogs that have gone on to become national spokesdogs for shelter dogs and better treatment of animals. We had Quentin the Miracle Dog a few years ago, you might remember, who was a stray rescue spokesperson. Now we have Marshall the Miracle Dog, who's going to be going all over the country with this new movie that's coming out. So two Missouri dogs representing. That's wonderful.
And shot here too.
Right.
Yeah.
And
so
bless those
cool.
people that adopt rescue dogs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really a wonderful thing.
Yeah, well, and we can ask Cindy as well, Marshall's owner, but I have a stray rescue dog, and I really truly believe that the dogs know that they're being rescued. They just really, they really do seem so grateful and appreciative. So I would recommend everybody, if you're getting a dog, check out some of the shelters around here. Some beautiful puppies available.
Absolutely.
Can you believe the summer's almost over?
No.
I'm still really trying to figure this out. It's August now. It is almost over. School's almost back in session officially for everyone. How are you guys handling this? I don't know if I'm ready.
I don't know if I'm ready either.
I haven't taken my official summer vacation yet.
Really?
So, yeah.
I haven't either.
Well, I've taken too many trips, so this summer I'm like, I have emails, I'm behind, I have no idea what's going on in the world.
Speaking of summer too, we're going to be talking about biking in the St. Louis region. It's perfect time of year to do that.
Exactly.
And with proliferation of all these bike trails and greenways, it's a great way to kind of experience St. Louis.
Yes, and I'm looking forward to hearing that interview because we just recently got bikes for everyone in the family. So it was sort of our goal this summer to start, working our way up to trails. So I need to get more information about, family-friendly bike trails. Although my son's still on training wheels, so he's not quite as mobile. We maybe won't go up and down the river, but anyway, we are really blessed with some wonderful bike trails and very beautiful scenery.
I need to get into that. I haven't really necessarily gotten into biking.
Well, I was a big biker, and for some reason I put my bike away one winter and just kind of never got it out again. So I've been trying to find some inspiration to get back into it, and I think the interview today might do it.
Absolutely. Well, have you ever gone down the Walk of Fame and just really, in the Delmar Loop, and just really paid attention to all the stars? It is really amazing. Maybe Marshall the Miracle Dog will be up there someday.
Probably.
But, just the people who've become famous, who are from here or who have lived here, is pretty amazing. And there is a new star on the Walk of Fame. Recently, Cardinals player and Emmy-winning broadcaster Tim McCarver received his star on the St. Louis Walk of Fame, and STL TV's Tim Lampley was there for the induction ceremony, so let's take a closer look.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to introduce Tim McCarver, unveil his star, and present him with a replica plaque of the star.
And with those words, legendary Cardinals catcher and longtime broadcaster Tim McCarver became the newest member of the St. Louis Walk of Fame.
I'm not used to people standing when I show up. I don't know what to say. I mean, this is just an honor. Not only to come here, I mean, these are my old stomping grounds, for crying out loud. I signed with the Cardinals when I was 17 years old out of high school. in Memphis, and made it to the big club to stay in 1963.
Developer and Walk of Fame founder Joe Edwards did the honor of presenting McCarver with a replica of his brass star. The real deal is just across the street from the Pageant Theater and among 140 others embedded in the sidewalks of the Delmar Loop. Edwards says the honor is well deserved.
And for someone to be that great at baseball and then go into an entirely different thing with the broadcasting is pretty impressive.
Impressive indeed. 55 years ago, McCarver signed with the baseball Cardinals just 10 days out of high school. He describes the historic 1967 team as being the best he's ever played on.
I never played on a team that made as few mistakes as the 67 Cardinals. Base running was the best I've ever seen, of course headed by the great Lou Brock.
McCarver retired from baseball in 1980 and began a career in broadcasting, calling 24 World Series before retiring in 2013. 1 year before, he was inducted into the broadcasters wing of the Baseball Hall of Fame.
How you doing?
I'm just amazed to meet you, sir.
Oh, well, nice to meet you. Thank you.
Did you have lunch?
Some fans who showed up for the induction ceremony were a little starstruck. Many asked for autographs after expressing how happy they were for the opportunity to meet and talk with a former player and broadcaster.
I am honored to be here. I'm honored to be back in St. Louis. I've come full circle. Thank you.
Tim McCarver's face and voice are forever associated with baseball's biggest moments. Now his name sits among St. Louis's biggest stars. For St. Louis Presents, I'm Tim Lampley.
Thanks, Tim. We are definitely going to have to go and take a look at the Walk of Fame. There's all kinds of new stuff going on down there.
Well, there's more to check out down there than the Walk of Fame.
Yes.
Down on the Loop, there certainly is. And the Loop's getting a trolley. Maybe they could have a bike trail someday. I don't know.
You never know.
Well, our next guest here might shed some light on that. Emma Clues is the communications manager for Great Rivers Greenway. Hey, Emma, how are you?
Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me. Great
So
to be here.
you do have urban bike trails.
We do, and we actually will have one that goes along with the Loop Trolley project from Forest Park to Delmar and to Bolivar there as part of that.
I was thinking back to, I don't know how long ago, when I was younger riding my bike, and I don't remember bike trails at all when I was younger. Is that a fairly recent phenomenon?
They have been around, it just depends, various parts of the country, but something that we've been working on to make the St. Louis region an even better place to live since the year 2000.
Wow, so this has been a long project. Now, what kind of started this project?
So we were created by a vote of the people of St. Louis City, St. Louis County, and St. Charles County in 2000 for clean water, safer parks, and community trails. So we are building the entire river ring network all over the region.
Okay, well, we use a couple of terms here. We talk about bike trails and greenways. So what's the difference?
So great question. So greenways are sort of the entire region that encompasses, being able to connect homes and businesses to parks and rivers, and trail is just sort of the tool that'll go through the greenway to be able to make that happen. So that's a paved trail so people can take a walk, get where they need to go, or just enjoy being outside.
Did you mention how many miles we have of
That's
bike
exactly
trails?
what I was going to ask.
So currently we have 106 miles of trail in the region, and eventually we'll have 600.
So is that like a set
goodness.
goal? I wonder if is there a maximum limit maybe a city can have?
No, not that I know of.
Really?
I think 600 is sort of our current vision for the region, and really the vision of the people. That was a plan that had citizen input and was created.
And I'm really curious too, like do all the bike trails connect? Is that part of the plan?
Eventually they will. So, the whole network will connect to, like I said, rivers, parks, homes, schools, businesses, and throughout the entire region, those greenways should connect you wherever you want to go.
And you guys have just recently, this past spring, opened up 4 trails at this point.
Correct. So a couple of those were along the River de Pere by the Lansdowne. By Lansdowne at the Shrewsbury Metrolink station. We also opened up a new trail by St. Charles Community College, the Darden Greenway, and then. We also have the new Carondelet Connector, which is a little trail that just sort of spurs off from the River de Pere at Germania and 55 in South City. So that goes behind Loughborough Commons, where there's a Schnucks, a Lowe's, a St. Louis Bread Company, and then it connects into Carondelet Park so that folks can get from riding out on the Greenway into the trail system that already exists in the park.
And what do you do to sort of accommodate the people that use the trail? I mean, do you have to have water stations and bathrooms? what are the other things that go
Are
along
there
with that?
requirements for that too? even?
So all of our greenways are different. You know, some of them are, like I said, like out at the river where you can get some fresh air, and some of those have different amenities, even than say a more urban trail that's perhaps maybe at Delmar and DeBoliver there. So we have a range of amenities at some of the different greenways, but certainly people's safety and comfort is always at the top of mind.
I want you to explain something because, you know, Sandy here is really into jewelry, and she was really excited when she saw something about a river ring.
See, he thinks that's what I thought it meant.
There could absolutely be some river ring inspired jewelry in our future. I'm not going to shoot that idea down. But basically the river ring is this entire network of greenways that, like I said, connects all of those different pieces. Businesses, homes, trails, parks in 1,200 square miles for St. Louis City, St. Louis County, and St. Charles County, which is roughly the size of Rhode Island.
So maybe someday a river brooch or a river necklace. for
Right,
you. So-
right.
We'll
A
work
river
up to that.
earring.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right. So you guys are right now in phase 3, starting phase 3. Is that what it is?
Yes, so another project that we have is called Bike St. Louis, and that's a partnership with the City of St. Louis and Great Rivers Greenway. And so we're in phase 3 of that project, and that's actually the on-street system. So that means signage and markings to make bike lanes, signage to make sure people are sharing the road on the streets of the City of St. Louis. So we have about 95 miles of bike routes in the city right now, and we'll add another 40 and upgrade 60 of those existing miles here starting in the next couple weeks and going through spring 2015.
You're doing a really interesting survey I'd like to hear more about, you know, I've heard about like, you know, people share cars and things, but this is bike sharing.
Yes, so right now we are doing a feasibility study to see if St. Louis is ready for a bike share program. And there's a really quick survey online. It's like 5 minutes. It's at our website, greatriversgreenway.org. And it just is, we're really trying to find out how people might use bike share, where they might go, and if not, what might be the barriers to using it. And bike share is kind of a system where you would be able to use a bike to go from one station to another. So these stations are about a half mile apart. They're for little trips, 30 or 45 minutes.
So explain to me how that works a little bit, Emma. Like I was at Chicago once, this was new for me, and like they had that car sharing thing where you rented a car and your car's parked somewhere and you just go pick it up. Is that sort of the same thing?
It is similar. So there'd be stations all over the region, and people could just be, it's another transportation option. So, you know, maybe you're going somewhere, but someone's going to pick you up when you get there. So you don't necessarily want to ride your bike, or maybe you don't have a bike. You could just go walk to your nearest station, ride the bike, and drop it back off. And some of those, the systems that are, you know, they're all over the world, but some of the ones that exist now, you might have the first half hour is free, and then you could charge by the hour. Some have memberships where you would have a membership where you would always be able to use it, and maybe your employer would pay for that, or maybe it's sponsored by a corporation here in town. That's part of the feasibility study.
Yeah, that is so interesting.
Do you really know who uses, do you do any kind of like surveys to figure out who uses your bike trails? Are they hip single people? Are they families? Who are they?
So right now we have some eco counters in place, which actually are it's a technology that's set up on 6 of our trails. And in July, we had over 124,000 users pass by just on those 6 trails. Wow. So we are not, we don't always have demographic information available from those, but that's something that we'd like to work up to as well in terms of understanding, you know, why and how people use the trails. So right now we're kind of counting.
I just want to say one final thing too. Your website's a really good resource because there's a lot of bike trails and greenways, and they can go to the website and print out maps and things. So that's what they should do.
Yes, greatriversgreenway.org.
Okay, great.
Wonderful. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you for being here and making
I'm ready
fun
to go.
of me.
I'm ready to go.
I hope to see you out there. We got to go ahead and pay the bills, but we will be right back. And check out your screen. You'll be able to see greenriversgreenway.org, and we'll be back with more.
This financial advisor is being accused of committing one of the largest investment frauds in the history of the United States.
I guess we're not going to Aspen. That's fine. You see, I like tennis balls. He likes insider trading. So he's going to jail and I'm going to a shelter. And no, they're not the same thing. Shelters are for good pets that want to be adopted. Jails are for criminals. I did nothing. Uh-oh. Okay, I stole a cheeseburger once. I'm my dog.
For those dealing with the struggles of caring for a loved one, we hear you. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for advice and support.
Over 13 million people are affected by famine, war, and drought in the Horn of Africa.
Make a simple text donation of $10.
But do more than donate. Forward the facts.
welcome back. A new movie is going to be making its way to the big screen soon, and the inspiration came from right here in St. Louis.
And just as exciting, a lot of the filming took place in the St. Louis area as well. Maybe you saw the crew and some of the stars around the town in the past few months.
Well, we're so excited to have with us Cindy Willenbrock and Marshall, the inspiration for the movie and the book, Marshall the Miracle Dog, joining us. And we have Marshall in studio. He's wearing a tie. Cindy, thank you so much for bringing him by today.
Thank you.
Now, a lot of people are familiar with the Marshall story, but for those who are not, let's just start at the beginning. Marshall is a miracle dog because he was rescued in a hoarding situation during the filming of one of the animal hoarding story things that they show on TV. And explain what condition Marshall was in at that time.
Well, he was found just in a heap in a corner of this pen. He was found living with 60 other dogs in this abandoned property. The animal hoarder was actually being filmed for a show on Animal Planet's show, Confessions Animal Hoarding. And so when they went in to film, they didn't expect to see the deplorable conditions that 60 of these dogs were living in, but it was literally just a penned-in area that the dogs had to pretty much fend for themselves. And Marshall was found when they approached him. He sat up and he had a hole on the side of his face that you could put your fist in. He had obviously been attacked by other dogs, probably during feeding time. Marshall's one of the sweeter, gentler dogs, and so when he went in to get his shares, when he was probably attacked. And the dogs had also fractured his front leg and left a bite mark so severe in his shoulder that the infection went down to the bone, because he had probably been living that way for at least a week, is what the Humane Society figured, because they were called in by Animal Planet to do the rescue when they saw the conditions these dogs were living in. And so they started operating on Marshall immediately once they got him to the animal hospital off of Macklin at the Humane Society of Missouri. And they already started calling him a miracle because Dr. Schwartz had never seen a dog survive as long as he had with the injuries he had. Wow. But then Marshall actually died. His heart stopped beating numerous times during the operations that it took to suture up his face and remove his front leg. But Dr. Schwartz said he knew this dog had a purpose. He refused to die. So he really is a miracle.
And so you were inspired to write this children's book, which, is another big gamble because everyone writes children's books and it's hard to get attention, but oh my gosh, you've written this book and it's a movie, which is, what is it, in post-production now or what?
Correct. We just wrapped up filming about 2 months ago, a little less than 2 months ago. We are probably about a month away from having a completely finished product. We're going to be at the St. Louis Film Festival in November to be the first screening that we show to a live audience. And then we're going to be moving on from there to, a theatrical or a made-for-TV type of situation. We're talking to the different distributors right now, deciding what is the best, largest platform for Marshall's messages.
So if you had to give a synopsis of what the premise of the movie is?
Well,
let us know.
It's loosely based on Marshall's story when it comes to the hoarding situation, but what was important to me is because what I've found with Marshall's messages is that children connect with Marshall on this really deep level today when it comes to what we're trying to teach our children about bullying prevention. And about the importance of showing kindness, about feeling empathy, about being courageous, and about forgiveness, which is also a huge part of the solution to bullying. And so it was really important to me to tie in bullying to Marshall's story when it came to the filming of his movie. So what we have is this wonderful boy, Finn, who just moved to a new school, new city, and he was an all-star baseball player before he started 8th grade at this new school, and he's being bullied by some of the boys, the cool kids, the kids that are threatened by him, and this goes on every day at schools. And so Finn, what we have him do is we have him be the one that rescues Marshall. And then it becomes this boy rescues dog, dog rescues boy. And it's the age-old story. I mean, it just touches your heart. But we have everyone being redeemed in the movie. We have the animal hoarder being redeemed. That was important to me because I think it's really important for all the audiences to see that everybody can change. So the boy that's bullying Finn in the movie, he's he's redeemed. Spartacus, the dog that bullies Marshall, or the acting Marshall in the movie, he's redeemed. The animal hoarder's redeemed. And so everybody comes together by the end, which is super important when we're trying to create change, so that we can see the whole, how things play out.
Now, before we run out of time, because I want to talk about some of the other ways Marshall's story is helping, but who plays you in the movie and who plays Marshall?
So I am played by Shannon Elizabeth, who turns out to be a huge animal rescuer herself. Not to mention, she is as beautiful on the inside as she is on the outside. She's probably most known for that 70s show, and she got her big start in American Pie as the beauty in American Pie. And then who plays Marshall is this incredible dog named Max. He came in from Hollywood. We actually had 12 dogs drive in from Hollywood. And so Max was taught how to limp. He was taught how to look pathetic. He was just he was so incredible. And it was really great seeing Marshall and Max together. But then who plays Spartacus is a dog named Ben, and he actually was in the Doritos, the Super Bowl commercial for Doritos, where the boy is riding this great big bull mastiff. And Ben, in real life, they had to teach this dog how to growl. That's what a sweetheart he was. So he was so far from being a bully dog in real life.
Oh, wow.
So.
This is such a neat thing.
I know, it really
and
is.
he's so well-mannered.
He is such
He's
a
just hanging
sweetheart.
out.
Does he wear a tie often?
He likes to always look dapper, and he also wears a bow tie. We switch him out. He usually gets to choose.
For being a star, he's very humble.
He is.
He's very modest.
He was laying on my foot earlier, and it's nice and warm.
He's using you
Thank
as
you.
as a platform.
So we've got the anti-bullying message in the movie, but also explain how Marshall is now sort of involved with Girl Scouts and 4-H. How is that all coming about?
Well, it's pretty unbelievable, but we are forever seeking new ways how to promote kindness, how to teach children, all these, the importance of the character traits. And so schools they're adopting his curriculum. So Marshall, we have inspired the Marshall Mentoring Program. And what we have done is, because I cannot be in all the schools across America that have requested mine and Marshall's presence, so we are training high school girls to carry the message into middle schools. And it is a 6-week program, and it follows Marshall's 5 cornerstone messages of empathy, kindness, courage, strength, and forgiveness. And so each week they tackle a different trait and really dive into it, and then give the children action so that they can, first identify with the cornerstone, but then put it into action to really help, for it to sink in, become part of their daily life.
My daughter is a Girl Scout, and her troop gets to pick what they want to focus on. So I think I may be nudging her towards that.
Yeah, so he inspired the Girl Scouts Marshall Movement patch as well, which is an anti-bullying animal rescue patch. So.
That's great.
Now, how long did it take Marshall to? I mean, once he was well enough to be adopted, I'm sure the scars are still visible, but those mental scars of what he went through, I'm sure are still with him. But how long did it take him to really, just trust again and trust you and just start acting more like a normal dog?
All in all, it took about 6 months. And really, honestly, that's the whole reason why the book came about. I've always been a writer, but just for an audience of one, just for myself. And one night, he was having another night terror, and that's really why I started writing his book. I just wanted to journal it, and I thought, writing has been so healing for me, maybe it could help him possibly. And so that's why I wrote his story to begin with, and I wrote it from his point of view. And so it took about 6 months, but the training to become a therapy dog is, I think, what really pushed him over that hump into that place of healing, because he really found out his sense of purpose.
So he doesn't mind a bunch of little kids swarming
Loves
all over
it.
him.
Oh my gosh, when we go into school,
Especially after what he went through, I know. Hi, baby.
Well, thank you, and thank you, Marshall, for reminding all of us the beauty of adopted shelter dogs.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so this fall at the St. Louis Film Festival, and then perhaps theater release, perhaps on the small screen. We'll just have to keep it tuned.
Absolutely, more is going to be revealed very soon.
All right, fantastic. Well, we've got some information on the screen there, marshallthemiracledog.com. You can get all kinds of information, what we've been talking about, and more about the movie and when you can see it. So, Cindy and Marshall, thanks so much for being with us and sharing your message.
We loved having you guys.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, we have some headlines to get to. Steve has He's written to unbelievable headlines for us, and he is going to regale us with the news. Steve, take it away, and we're going to play with the dog here.
Well, Marshall's really great, but it's a little depressing when a dog has a better career than you do. But I guess I'll get over it. An estimated 17,000 people took advantage of the St. Louis Metropolitan Area Amnesty Project this month. More than 65 St. Louis city and county municipalities participated this year, allowing those with outstanding traffic and misdemeanor warrants to clear their record. Offenders paid $10 and sat through a short seminar, and in return received a voucher to take to court. While offenders still have to pay any fines and court costs, their arrest warrants have been waived. The Amnesty Project is part of the Better Family Life's annual Family Week. The city of St. Louis recently placed 51 veterans into supportive housing and is now positioned to become the first city in the country to end homelessness among military vets. Operation Reveille is an initiative of the City of St. Louis Department of Human Services, formed in response to Mayor Slay's challenge to end chronic homelessness and President Obama's call to end all veteran homelessness. Based on their individual needs, vets will receive services that include housing assistance, employment opportunities, counseling, community resources, and more. And have you got your tickets for Lou Fest yet? The Find It, Keep It contest is back with 30 pairs of tickets up for grabs. Follow Lou Fest on Instagram each day now through September the 5th for clues on where to find the hidden tickets. Lou Fest takes place in Forest Park, September 6th and 7th. Visit their website for a full lineup of artist spotlights and more. And guys, some of the groups that are playing in Lou Fest this year include Outkast, Arctic Monkey, and my favorite, Cake, because who doesn't like cake?
Cake.
If you get that's a joke.
Yes, that is funny. But really, they are very good. I love Cake.
A couple of other things at Lou Fest, too. If you're interested in volunteering, they're always looking for volunteers, which could be interesting. And besides music, did you know they have what do they call their market square, I think they call it, where you can go and you can buy jewelry, art, even home furnishings. So you can spend a day there for sure.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. They do a really good job at Lou Fest getting really good acts together, but I've never been. I just have a hard time spending an entire day anywhere.
That would be so much fun to see.
What do I do with the kids? I don't know.
Yeah, I think babysitter for that day, and mom and dad go to Lou Fest,
a whole day. Would be the deal. So this has been fantastic. We got to learn more about Lou Fest, and just in love with Marshall.
Oh, he's adorable.
Well, what a show this has been. We talked about feral cats earlier, didn't we? From feral cats to miracle dogs.
Well, you know what? I wanted to bring that up because last show we talked about different ways, different low-cost options for spaying or neutering your dogs, and different programs if you can't afford it. And there is a trap, neuter, return program in the city of St. Louis because we do have a feral cat issue. Do you see like feral cats running around your neighborhood?
Yes.
A few years ago, we actually got a humane trap and started trapping the cats in our neighborhood because they were killing all the birds, and there were a bunch of these cats that didn't seem to belong to anyone. But then I realized when I dropped them off at the shelter, they were probably being euthanized, and I thought, that's not a nice option either.
And you have to be a little careful with a feral cat because you don't know how it's going to react. It's basically a wild animal, and I've had a few feline encounters of the feral kind in my yard, and you do have to kind of be careful.
Yeah, well, it's cheaper to neuter or spay the feral cat and put it back in its neighborhood than it is to euthanize. So the city of St. Louis is now, it's TNR, trap, neuter, and return. So that's our whole pet segment. Anyway, we'd like to thank all of you for being with us today on this edition of St. Louis Presents, and we hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, please come back, see us again.
And make sure you guys follow us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. We're everywhere. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
St. Louis Presents. All right. So now